Hello folks, and welcome to this week's Music Alerts, which is a bit of a Stevie Nicks special. Now, when I was 14, I had a bit of a thing about Stevie Nicks. Not sure if she ever mentioned it to anyone. We kept it pretty quiet, didn't want to make a fuss or anything. You know how it is. Anyway, throughout the years, I've been as supportive as possible during her solo career, and I think she appreciated that. Don't see much of her these days, have to say, but I keep in touch with her music, which is why I have this monster to tell you about. And this is it, and it's the back side of a box, which is very exciting, isn't it? But the front side, well, it has all my address information on the front here, and I forgot to buy black tape, silly me. Anyway, I will bring this box to camera nevertheless because, well, it's quite nice. This box holds a box set, I have to say, but the box itself, this outer box, it ain't bad all on its own. Let me show you. Now, on the front corner of the box, well, there's a very nice little label, a Stevie Nicks label. And on the side of the box, we have another label. And I'm straining because it's so heavy. We have more information. So, what's inside the box, as someone said in a very famous film? This rather nice multi-album and rarities set called, as you can see, Stevie Nicks. A lot of time and effort went into that one, hey? But of course there's the subtitle, Complete Studio Albums and Rarities. Now, in case you are unaware, Stevie Nicks' sweet husky vibrato on two legs came to fame via her stint with the mega band Fleetwood Mac. When the band had released the 1979 album Tusk, she was off and a solo career began. To celebrate her 4-decade-plus career, Rhino has released a career retrospective reissue program, and that means all of her solo albums plus rarities. Now, I assume that all of these albums on CD and vinyl, and I'll get into the details in a second, I assume they'll all be available separately, but as you can see, I have the collected vinyl version here. And let me bring that to camera. You can have a closer look. Now, I will show you the albums to camera in a moment, but in broad terms, well, the first 3 albums arrive in a simple outer sleeve. The following 5 are contained in gatefolds, and the final rarities set, well, that arrives in a relatively large single sleeve. To fit everything in here in terms of musical content, you will receive 16 vinyl discs for your money, and we'll get to the money bit a bit later on. Now, this particular vinyl box set, well, it arrives, as you can see there, that purpley end section, it arrives as a slip cover box. So this one comes off. So there's the inside bit there. There's the album. I don't know if you can see that. The album sleeves on the back there. Put this down here, and we can see all of the albums. So when I bring each of these to camera, you can have a closer look of each one. So what do we have here? Well, firstly, we have the 1981 debut, Donna, a melodic album known for the hits Edge of 17, Leather and Lace, and Stop Dragging My Heart Around. But check out the album tracks too, which have a sense of her kind of pre-Fleetwood Mac days with Lindsey Buckingham. Oh yes, and I should have mentioned, shouldn't I? Everything here, in analog terms at least, has been pressed onto clear vinyl. Next up is the album Wild Heart, released in 1983. That stuck with the formula, and it was a successful formula as well. She played it safe, so Nicks didn't disturb the fans too much, and it was a straight-ahead album, but it worked very well indeed. Rock a Little from 1985 is on the shiny, glossy production side of affairs. It's very 80s AOR album, this one, with all that entails. I much prefer her simple, stripped approach, I must say, but I could also say that for a lot of older acts who produced albums in the 80s. Anyway, underneath this particular chrome and glitz, there is a good album here. Stevie Nicks remains sincere on this album, so I advise living with it. Meet it in the middle, you might say. On the Other Side of the Mirror is from 1989, and I reckon it's underrated. It was rather slated at the time. Here's just one example, and I quote, "Nicks' lyrics too often have a surreal quality, line by line, they really don't add up to much, unquote. For this release, Nix wanted the album to have a more demo feel, but to base the theme on Alice in Wonderland. So, her lyrics are supposed to be surreal. They also have a biographical edge to them. So, worth getting to know this one. Street Angel from 1994, well, there's a roots feel to this one, less of the metallic production sheen though. It leans towards Belladonna, but doesn't really hit the songwriting heights. It's solid though, well worth keeping you company. So what about Trouble in Shangri-La from 2001? Well, I purposefully haven't dwelled on the celeb friends that appear in all of her previous albums, but there are lots, and I'll leave you to discover them all. Tom Petty's in there as one example. I think Bob Dylan makes an appearance. This one is no different, so expect to hear Sarah McLachlan and Macy Gray. There's even a Dixie chick in there somewhere, Natalie Maines. Oh, and there is Sheryl Crow. Crow even co-produced. This is a Back to Form LP from Stevie Nicks. Excellent stuff. In Your Dreams from 2011, well, that looks back to her past really, and does so from a place of calm, which benefits the whole LP because it gives a relaxed performance. And then there's that weird additional disc called Karat Gold Songs from the Vault from 2014, which kind of is an archival release of unreleased material, including songs from 1969, late 70s, early 80s, and also later on. But these songs are more reworkings of the originals, so they're not strictly archival items. The result, however, remains top-notch because Stevie Nicks respects those past efforts, so she doesn't really turn them into something they're not. To finish this set, there are additional discs of Rarities spanning 23 tracks, and they include non-album tracks such as those that Nicks produced for film and TV, for example. So that means things like Blue Lamp from Heavy Metal and Free Fallin' from Party of Five. You will also find B-sides on here as well. Now, some of these albums have been remastered from the analog masters. They include Rock a Little, The Other Side of the Mirror, Street Angel, and Trouble in Shangri-La. The CD box set is priced around £85, $81, €96, but those prices can and do move up and down a bit, and I would recommend shopping around for the best deal. The vinyl edition is rather limited in numbers and supply. You can only buy it from the Rhino USA or Rhino UK website. I will put links below for you in case you want to investigate. Now, as I was making this video, the UK edition was out of stock, and even so, priced at a penny short of £300. Now, I have no idea if you will see a restock. I have asked the company. I'll place a reply in the pinned comments if I do get a reply. However, it's always worth checking out just in case. The US edition, well, that was still in stock, and that is priced at 2 pennies short of $300. However you digest the music from this collection, it is an amazing collection, and I want to thank Rhino for sending over this box and allowing me to share it with you all. And that's it, folks. Thanks very much for hanging around to the end of this video. And could I ask you before you go downstairs, if you can click on the like and subscribe buttons, just helps this channel to sail through the murky algorithm. Further down still, well, I'll put links to Rhino UK and USA. In addition to that, there are social media links for my own meanderings, and they include my Facebook group and also my website, and also my Patreon page where Hi-Fi News etc. lives from now on. Just in case you're looking for it, just in case you're wondering, where's it gone? It lives on Patreon, exclusively on Patreon. So there's a new one out this week. There was one last week, and there'll be another one next week if you want to keep in touch with all your Hi-Fi News essentials, and there's trivia, and there's hints and tips, and other bits and pieces. Check out Patreon. I'll put a link below. Anyway, I'll be back Sunday with a hi-fi review, an amplifier, I reckon, and I hope to have your company. Until that time, folks, bye-bye for now.